we're going to talk about mock drafts because it's never too early to talk about mock drafts.
We're going to have a theme song for mock draft. This is going to be it's the season. That's right. Something other than
mock
our
draft
music.
season. I'll be tracking them until we are on the clock, basically. I've only tracked 14 so far, but I remember the last one we usually do, and I usually talk about here on One Bills Live before the draft. I'm in the 100s by then, so I have a nice Excel spreadsheet, get to nerd out. This is one of my favorite topics all year. I love talking about the draft. I love looking at guys. I love dreaming about where the Buffalo Bills could go with that number 27th pick. So if you guys head to our website, buffalobills.com, on Friday morning, we released our first mock draft watch. So tracked 14 so far, and of those 14, you might ask, Maddy, where are the Buffalo Bills going to go? Who's been mocked to the Buffalo Bills the most?
That's right.
And no, it's not a wide receiver.
No, it's not.
It's not an offensive lineman.
It's so dumb.
It is a running back. Do you think the Bills should go running back at number 27? Well, 4 times. 4 out of the 14 say the Bills are going to draft a running back. 3 out of the 14 say defensive back or corner. 2 wide receiver. 2 interior offensive linemen. And then you got a tackle, you got a linebacker, and you got a defensive end. So, what do you think about those statistics, Tasker?
It's dumb.
Are you saying
they're not
no?
They're not going to take Bijan Robinson in the first round.
That's the guy.
That's the guy they're talking about, the big Texas running back. He's as good as it gets in this draft, no question about it. All 4 were running back were Bijan Robinson too.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 that were the 4 mock drafts that we have that took running backs, they were all the same guy.
Yep.
So he's really good.
I've read that he could be going earlier than 27 because he's so good, and once he gets to showcase that in pro days and in the combine, teams may have him go up on their draft board.
Right.
Don't necessarily think the Bills will need a running back, but if you go by the game of best available, and we're going to choose best available, if he's best available, well, maybe they go there.
Maybe.
He had 18, so,
Go ahead.
Think about a running back and what running back would work on this roster, and I look to a guy like James Cook, somebody who can be a running back and somebody who can also pose as a wide receiver and being involved in the passing game end of things, screen passes, line up as a wide receiver, whatever, you name it. Somebody who's going to be versatile to this offense. We have somebody on that roster already. His name is James Cook. So Bijan Robinson's stats: 18 rushing touchdowns last season, 11 rushing touchdowns before both those seasons, goes over 1,000 rushing yards, a couple hundred receiving yards as well, 314 to be exact last season, receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. If you go to the Draft Network and you read up on this guy, the top reasons to buy in: his athleticism, explosiveness, elusiveness, speed, prototype build, ability to positively affect the passing game, receiving, and blocking. So he can do both those things. Top reasons for concern: running with power, injury concern. So this guy is a junior, 220, 6 feet, big guy, big running back. You said it there.
Yeah, that's what it's the kind of guy, he's built like the guy they wanted Zach Moss to be. And never worked out, and wasn't.
And Zach Moss had crazy stats at Utah.
That's right. So we'll see about that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be more likely somebody like the interior offensive lineman Cody Mock from North Dakota State.
That's your early favorite?
I think it's my early favorite, yes.
Okay.
Or it could be the safety from Alabama, Brian Branch.
Brian Branch?
Yeah, he plays safety at Alabama. He's could play safety and slot corner. And, with what's going on with Jordan Poyer, they may need to fill that with a guy who's got ball skills and some size. We'll see.
So Brian Branch was mocked to the Bills twice. That's the second favorite next to Bijan Robinson. And if you look at his statistics, he's also a junior, had 2 interceptions This past season has only had 4 interceptions in his career, has had 27 passes defensed over his 3-year career, 4 sacks, and 19 and a half TFLs.
Yeah.
And if you look at his draft profile on the Draft Network, reasons to buy in: versatile defender, high-level run defender, high football IQ. Top reasons for concern: ball production and man coverage. He's 6 feet, 193. Comes out of Alabama.
So he can, he doesn't exactly fit the scheme because he's not really a box or slot guy. Mm-hmm. He can play box and slot guy, but he's not really a free safety kind of guy who drops back into deep coverage, and that hence his ball skills weren't put to any use if he does indeed have them. That's why you didn't get a chance to see that, because he was playing the slot corner supporting the run, or he's playing in the box as a safety supporting the run. So it's it's an unknown a little bit for him, but he is regarded as a really, really smart football player and makes a lot of plays on the physical side of the game. But that's what I'm thinking. It's going to be a guy like Cody Mock, the interior offensive lineman, or a guy like Deion Branch, the defensive back. There's also in one of the mock drafts I looked at they also have got the Bills taking Deion Banks, who's a cornerback out of Maryland, in the 2nd round. After they take Cody Mock at number 1 and number 27 overall, at 59 overall, the Bills take Deontay Banks, a corner out of Maryland. So I don't know about that either. It's interesting.
It is. Other names that you'll see, there are 2 wide receivers in this crop of mock draft watches, the mock drafts that we tracked in our mock draft watch. Jordan Addison out of USC, Parker Washington out of Penn State, another cornerback, Cam Smith out of South Carolina. You're seeing, if you're watching on MSG, you're looking at our wide receiver prospects list. 46, Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. You guys know my Tennessee connection. This kid, he's a great wide receiver. Toward the end of the season, when Tennessee started to win a lot of games, when they had their quarterback with them, their quarterback got injured at the end of the season, and their playoff hopes kind of went down the drain because they didn't look like they were the same team, but Jalen Hyatt went off. I think he had a game with 4 touchdowns, but he posted some really good stats. He seems like a great wide receiver, somebody whoever gets him, he could be an impact player from day one. But you see Jordan Addison, who is mocked to the Buffalo Bills, is above Jalen Hyatt. And the other one, Parker Washington. Let me see. I don't know if he's
from Penn
on
State,
that list, but he's from Penn State. So those are some early guesses at who the Buffalo Bills may take with that 27th pick overall. Couple linebackers in there as well, which I thought interesting. That could be somewhere that the Bills may want to go if Tremaine Edmonds is no longer a part of the Bills. He's a free agent, so we'll see what happens with that situation. An offensive tackle also mocked to the Bills out of Georgia, Broderick Jones. If you know anything about SEC teams, they have big players all around up front, defensive line and offensive line. Also a defensive end, Mel Kiper's mock draft. He mocked Derek Hall to the Buffalo Bills out of Auburn. He's also an outside linebacker, so maybe he was thinking about Tremaine Edmonds not being on the roster anymore.
They have that also from South Carolina, another cornerback, Cam Smith, who a lot of people are saying he's a day one contributor. He'll be on the field. He's a really good high talent, well sought after talent. So he can be a day one contributor, has been called. So a lot of the thing about it, you get even into 27, even though we're sitting here not picking in the top 5 or top 10, and like we all know the reasons for it. It's awesome.
We take a long nap and then you wake up and it's still not our turn to draft.
The good thing about it is in this first round, you will get a player who is really going to look the part. He's going to be big, fast, strong, and skilled. And he's going to probably be a really productive player. So it'll be fun to see who it's going to be at whatever position. And even from right now, or particularly from right now, the roster is going to be very different when free agency closes. So free agency will open, I believe, March 17th. 15th. And the 13th, they can start talking to people. And the 15th, it opens for real. And so it'll be interesting to see how the roster changes during that time, because we may really need a corner, or we may really need, we may really need some other guys.
It may become very obvious.
So yeah, it's going to be, the roster will be it will have much fewer holes than it does right now. In our minds.
Most definitely. This is the time when people are just trying. It's truly a guess right now, because you don't know what's going to happen in free agency.